You're watching New Kids on the Block, and we're coming to you from the Sri Ram College of Commerce in the midst of the raging debate over demonetization. The reason we've chosen this college is, of course, because of the issue. We're hoping to hear from all of them how they are affected. And of course, our student leaders here today, we have, of course, from the ABVP, we have Abhijit Dwivedi. From the SFI, we have Yadul Krishna. From the NSUI, Ashma Mandla. And the SRCC's President Bhartendu Verma. But before we speak to all of them and the students, let's just see how this has played out over the last few days.
The exchange of cash, old high denomination currency over the counter has also been, the facility has been enhanced from the current limit of 4,000 rupees to 4,500 rupees. The existing limit of 4,500 rupees will be reduced to rupees 2,000.
तीन बैंक में गया अभी, आंध्रा बैंक, आईसीआईसीआई बैंक एंड एसबीआई बैंक, उसमें कहीं भी पैसे नहीं मिला।
मेरे घर में खर्चे के लिए पैसा नहीं है और मैं बोली जास्ती भी नको, मेरे 4,000 का एक्सचेंज दो बस। मैंने 8 दिन तो गुजर जाता है।
मोदी जी ने किया है, ये समाज हित और देश हित के हित में काम किया है, बहुत अच्छा काम किया। जो लोगों को ये परेशानी चल रही है, ये हफ्ते 10 दिन की परेशानी सोल्व हो जाएगी।
4 दिन से साहब आ रहा, पैसा मिल नहीं रहा है और हम परेशान हैं। 10 किलोमीटर दूर से भाग रहे हैं और हमारे पास किराया है नहीं है, तो हमें पैदल आने पड़ता है साहब।
If you look at our students over here, our audience over here, and New Kids on the Block has always been about young student leaders, and we'll be speaking to them. But if you ask the students over here, how many of you have been affected by denotification? Everybody. Well, yeah, demonetization has affected everybody. A lot of the students telling me that they have, instead of coming to class, they've been outside queuing up as well. But has it been worth the pain? That's the political debate as well, which everyone's been talking about. That's stalled Parliament as well. And now let's talk to our student leaders as well. From ABVP, we have Abhijit Dwivedi. From the left, SFI, we have Yadul Krishna. From NSUI, we have Ashma Mandla. And the Sri Ram College's President, Bhartendu Verma, also joining us over there. The first question really is the one that the Supreme Court has taken up as well. Should the courts intervene? Should they?
Well, you always have, our system is such, the democracy and the structure of our constitution, our Indian constitution says that there has to be an independence of the judiciary, executive and the legislature. So having said that, even though they are independent of each other, but they do keep each other in check. And if there is any point that arises where one department, one functioning arm of the government is, one organ is misusing or it's exceeding its power. So yes, in that situation, the judiciary does have.
So you're calling it a misuse of power?
It is.
Abhijit, how would you respond to that? Misuse of power. Supreme Court, however, while it didn't intervene today, did ask some very tough questions. They said that it's almost like a riot-like situation outside.
Supreme Court has every right to intervene as such whenever there are problems which people face. When somebody raises that their rights have been violated as such. However, the law of separation of power, which is one of the cardinal constitutional values of our constitution, the Supreme Court has itself enunciated in a large number of principles that they will not enter into policy questions. They will not enter into political questions. The strict scrutiny test, they said that we say that whether this was a right policy move or this is a right policy move. On that, the Supreme Court has clearly said that we don't have the right to intervene into it, and this was decided by the 11 judges bench. So Supreme Court, how this could have been better managed, that could be done. But I think the Supreme Court doesn't have the kind of experience, and this is a kind of the critique of judicial review which is usually done. Because being a lawyer, I can tell on that fact, it doesn't have that kind of skill and it doesn't have that kind of resource.
I think it's important that the ABVP is also acknowledging that perhaps the way it was done, that there could be questions raised.
No, there can be questions raised. I'm not saying that there are questions to be raised. I'm saying that somebody can file a case. That is the legitimate right of that person to file a case. The Supreme Court has legitimate power to interfere into it. But directing which kind of dictating what is the right policy choice is certainly not a sphere in which Supreme Court must interfere.
Yadul Krishna, is there need for an intervention 10 days down the line?
See, as far as the left is concerned, like the Communist Party of India, Marxist or the organization that I represent as SFI, See, we are basically having two questions, mainly two questions. The number one is, how is this implemented? The execution, the planning, the whole structure of this. Number two is about how the common people, the unorganized labor force, how the women, how the aged people are affected by this. So seriously, we need to have a look into this. We need to work on how this has to be condemned.
Okay, Bhartendu, you're the only one who's apolitical here. You're perhaps the neutral panelist representing the students over here. Tell us, has it been, we'll speak to all your other, students as well. They seem divided, which is interesting. But for you personally, are you saying it's a great move or not?
Like for me, being a very apolitical person, as a normal student, as a Delhiite, I would say that this has been a very, it's been a very drastic step which has been taken by the government. There are short-term problems which are being faced, but then when people say, as general public, when we say that the government is not taking any steps towards curbing black money or towards terrorism funding, so I think the people as general, I think, have welcomed this decision very well, and they are trying to adjust with minor problems. The queues have started to shorten up now. And like I think that the government had planned it quite well. Like I'm not saying this was very perfect. However, they started off with like Jan Dhan accounts in different parts of the country, in rural places.
Okay.
So strengthening the cashless base of the country. So
okay, you don't agree?
No, because I'll tell you, the Jan Dhan Yojana, which it was started, the entire point was that you open accounts for people and money is supposed to come in that. All right. So last year, the statistics were that 74% approximately, those accounts had zero account balance. They had no money whatsoever. So then an RTI was put into this, that what is the exact status of this Jan Dhan Yojana. And what we found out was very interesting, that these bank officials, their personnel were being forced to put 1 rupee in their accounts. So you actually have well documented, there is this evidence where people have actually shown their statements and said that all we have is 1 rupee in that account, so that now the percentage of zero balance accounts have reduced from 74% to 24%.
Sure.
So if you're talking about that, yes, you're trying to bring back money to the masses, then what about your Panama Papers? You saying that you will bring back 80 lakh crore.
But isn't it also true, Ashma, that poor in villages are better equipped because of this? A lot more of them would have accounts.
That is there. I agree that people will have accounts, and it is, like I said initially also, that when we were talking about this, that it doesn't seem like, even if they're saying that they only had 2 months to get this into action, it seems like a very well planned, in the sense that they knew that this step was going to come ahead.
Okay, so you've heard the political ideas of the student leaders. Let's just get a little wider. How many of you now really support and agree that it's a great idea, demonetization is a great idea, and it's been implemented well as well? Okay, so fair share, fair division we see. So a lot of you say no, a lot of you say yeah. Yes, go ahead. Tell us why you think they've done a good job of it. Yeah.
Like, ma'am, every revolutionary step is being followed by criticism. Taking example from in 1986, computer is being taken by Rajiv Gandhi to our country. Everybody said everybody will get employed. Could we imagine India without computers? In 1991, FDI was brought in India. 10 years, it will ruin the small businesses. It will not help. But now we are seeing the impact of FDI. This is also a decision which is taken by the Modi government, not on the short-term basis, but concerning a long-term. Modi on 8th of November introduced his speech by saying that this decision is going to give a lot of short-term, a lot of problem to the masses.
Okay.
But I'm taking this for the long-term.
Okay.
And one question I would like to ask to the NSA, she said that opening the Jan Dhan accounts did not impact. I want to tell her that 45,000 crore money has been deposited in the Jan Dhan accounts, which benefited the economy by about 0.3% GDP.
Okay, NSA, do you want to respond to that? No, okay, so let her respond to that, Abhijit. Yeah, go ahead.
Like I said, when we saw the actual RTIs, and it's not fabricated information, and just because we are in the opposition, we are trying to, just pick up things to say. But when the RTI themselves said that the bank officials came ahead and said that we were forced to put one rupee in those accounts. So please tell me, if it's not that, then what is this true story? Where did the money really come from?
Okay, so we saw fair division. A lot of you cheered and said yes, monetization is the way to go. A lot of you felt differently about it. You want to counter and rebut what he said? Yeah, sure. Yeah, go ahead.
I see this move as recovering the black money at the cost of the poor people. Actually, there are crores of people standing in the ATM queues. Their productivity is being lost. People are going. People are starving. There are people who with their hard-earned money. It's inside the. They stored it up. And first of all, I don't see black money as something which was stocked up earlier. It is always continuing. And by introducing the 2,000 rupee notes, there's no actually a reason. It's getting demonetized. Getting demonetized.
Do you want to counter that? Yeah.
See, we certainly agree with the fact that there is a stock currency, there is a flow currency. All the black money, we recognize that the entire black money is certainly not in black money form, which is in cash. We recognize that fact. But there are certain number of steps which have been taken, the policy initiatives on the basis of the multi-party convention which is being signed. Then as for the Panama Papers, I don't know whether the ma'am knows or not, there is a committee which is formed under the CBDT which is going to tackle this entire issue. Then on the tax information exchange, there have been agreements. Government of India under Prime Minister Modi has been taking the lead in OECD signing an agreement wherein every data exchange regarding the information, the flow of the money will be shared.
Okay.
Then there are steps on the black money regarding the which is being stored as stashed in the foreign country. So Income Tax Act Chapter 11 was being, because it doesn't provide enough punishment in that regard. Yeah. As far as the Jan Dhan thing is concerned, the jam trinity which the government had in the last economic survey particularly stressed upon, that it says that even if suppose the amount the bank has 1 rupee in it, now the people can at least sow their money and let that be used.
Fine.